Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Two Bald Brothers and a Microphone. I am Robert Linkle, and this is my main man, my bald brother from another mother, Dr. Evan Osar. Dr. Ev, welcome back, buddy.
Thanks for having me. It's so great to be back. Our first one of the 2021.
It's about time, my man. We got a great show for you, everybody. We're going to cover all kinds of good stuff, including ACSMs Top 10, the 4-second workout, some new gear, sarcopenia, all kinds of good stuff. So settle in, get ready for the show. We are very glad to have you here with us.
All righty. Thanks for joining us.
It's two bald brothers and a microphone. It's two bald brothers and a microphone. It's two bald brothers and a microphone. It's two bald brothers and a microphone.
My man. All right, brother. Let's get into this. First things first. I got something to show you. I've got something exciting to show you. We have gear.
Gear
Out there for people to buy. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool? He made this for us. If you guys
That's awesome.
get a chance, it is like a little group order. So if you head to trainingtheolderadult.com and you want a Two Bald Brothers and a Microphone shirt, you can pick one up there. They are very affordable. And we do need that order to be placed before January 31st. So you guys get on that shit now. So get up on that whenever you get a chance.
That's awesome.
I'm pretty excited about it, man.
That's so cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
All right.
She actually put that together while we were doing the arthritis training solution.
Oh, that's right.
I love the shirts. We want to bring it back. And we wore our stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, people were asking, and then next thing you know, here we are. All right, so
That's
if you guys
awesome.
want a shirt, hop on there. Another little update and a little something. A new endeavor that I have. You guys have seen this. I put this up on social media.
I saw that
a couple of days ago. Yeah, I'd love to get your opinion on it there, Dr. Ev. But basically, this was a research study that was done right like 2 months in or a month and a half in, something like that. At a retirement community, they had all these individuals between 70 and 79. They were on average, because their trainer, their therapy folks there were tracking their step counts every day, and they were averaging 6,000 steps. And then the facility got put on stay-at-home quarantine lockdown. Everybody had to stay in their rooms. And so their step counts went down to 1,500. So it was a decrease of 75%. In those 14 days, they lost 4% of their fat-free body mass. They reduced their muscular strength output by 8%. We know if we lose muscular strength, they're going to be losing power output as well. And the rehab attempt to the 2 weeks after to try to build back that strength failed miserably. So it was just showcasing, hey, you take 2 weeks off, look what an issue this can be. And if you just think like, oh, it's just 2 weeks, I can build it back. You can't. Yeah. Not in that 2 weeks. It takes a lot more time to build back. So in your opinion, this is my new endeavor, my new battle. Join the resistance, literally. Start lifting, and a new campaign for us: increase your strength, sharpen your mind, and keep your independence. Just really trying to push this idea and give all of us, fellow fitness professionals, ammunition to go out there and fight the good fight with your clients. So, what are your thoughts on this process moving forward, my man? What do you think about sarcopenia and the issues that facing us with COVID right now?
It's interesting that. We've heard sarcopenia. Everybody knows what it is, and it happens. And when you posted that, maybe was it 2 days ago you posted that?
Yeah.
Earlier this week. When I saw the stats, I was like, "Holy cow! That is mind blowing to me. That in such a quick period of time, people could deteriorate that much." And when you think about now, here we are, 10 months into it, right? Here we are, 10 months. There's no sign that it's going to end anytime soon.
No.
This is going to be devastating. And the fact that 2 weeks of rehab, right, which is what most people do or get, I'll just go to rehab for a little bit and get it back. No, you're not getting it back. And so it's really a call to action for us as a health and fitness professional, especially the fitness professionals, because, and again, this comes back to, why do we teach to the fitness professionals? It's because you guys are the forefront of the healthcare solution. That's why on my sweatshirts, you may have seen me put fitness professional on the front, healthcare solution on the back.
Nice.
And now we're going to have two bald brothers, fit solution on the back, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But seriously, you need to get this information out to your older folks. I mean, we all need to do our part to educate our older folks, because the medical profession is overwhelmed. They should be saying this. You know, even my cat's getting into it. She's like, I'm all for this too. But we need to get this information out and to our folks, and get them empowered and educated about the importance of, again, the simple things you can do. Again, they don't need to do an hour workout or a HIIT workout every single day. They just need to do something on a regular basis that helps them maintain, and actually at this point regain some of the strength that they've been losing over the last.
Absolutely. What's your cat's name?
This one's Phoebe. So I have two, Phoebe and Artie.
Come on, Phoebes. Great.
Every time I jump online,
I'm like, there's your cat again, bro. No, that's all good. That's the whole point of this, is that it's just fun time for us to hang out.
Right.
Yeah, man. So if you look at the very bottom of that slide, it was like, it's been 309 days. It's now been, since I've given that slide out, like 312 days of lockdown. And you got to think about how many folks out there, or how many people that were working with trainers that are now aren't, because they're closed. Yeah. So there's like, I'll just shut it down until they reopen. You can't wait anymore. So I've been obsessed with this every day. I'm reading a little bit. This really good book. I'm not going to say that the workout program inside it is good. We can give you a much better one. It's super basic, but this is from a medical doctor and his review and his research on it. It's really giving me like a greater insight and understanding this process of how you have like early onset atrophy, early onset sarcopenia, in-depth, and then chronic like you're not coming back. And then all the percentages, and 70 years old, that you can lose like 15% of your body mass in that decade if you don't. Anyway, we don't have to harp on it forever. People get it. It's such in our face right now with all the lockdown. It drives me crazy. So yeah, I think we're on. Okay. I want to know about this. You started right before we went on. You started to tell me, and I went, no. I want you guys to capture I have no idea what this is. So second workout for older adults. If you would please tell me about it, because I'm pretty sure I could crush it, whatever it is, for 4 seconds. Let's go. What is it?
For sure. And again, I'm not entirely I'm going to be 100% accurate with describing it. It's more just the concept of it, because again, we're familiar, fitness professionals are familiar with Tabata, and Tabata is basically, they took elite athletes, I think it was collegiate or even like higher level than that, maybe been professional athletes, and put them through 4-minute workout. And basically it was like 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off, for 4 minutes. And of course our industry takes it, bastardized it.
2010
is what it was.
Yeah.
And of course our industry is like, hey, if 4 minutes is good, then 60 minutes must be better. And then again, and now we have that nonsense. So my 85-year-old client, who actually, this is crazy, tying this back to our last story. He's been in quarantine for 10 months, right? Basically just online workouts. And he was somebody that was very resistant to that. He would go away in the winter for 4 months. He's got a house down in the islands, and I wouldn't see him for 4 months. And I'd write him a workout before he left, and then he would go do it, and then that was it. Well, he's been with me through his wife's encouragement through quarantine. And when I went to see him about over the summer, so about 3 or 4 months in, I was the first person. They hadn't even seen their family. I was the first person they invited in because he ended up having some back pain. But I remember I walked in and I'm like, man, I think there's something in his pants, like, because he was laying face down on the table. And I'm like, I think there's something in his pants, like maybe he got a sock stuck in his pants or a shirt stuck in his pants because it was kind of full. And then I touched his butt, and I'm like his butt, like he had muscle mass back there. Whoa. And I'm like, dude, you've built glutes, because basically we were training him virtually in a room, in one of his spare bedrooms, and the bed's in the room. So in a dresser. So there's literally like not much space at all. So again, we were doing just tons of squats and hinges and patterns like that. Like 85 years old, he developed glutes, and his wife is like, I've been trying to tell you, his legs are rock hard. And I'm like, but to see it with my own eyes and actually feel it with my hands, I'm like, it's fascinating that this gentleman that in quarantine has developed better than when he was with me one-on-one, because you know how you get with some of your clients, you like them, you enjoy the time with them, you're talking and you actually don't do anything, or as much as you should. But he's actually done better in quarantine. So fast forward, he sends me this article from the New York Times earlier this month or December. And it's basically the 4-second workout. So I read it, and it's basically this college professor or researcher, I should say, put his athletes, his elite athletes, he basically got them up to their super intense, their highest intensity, and basically said in 4 seconds, and basically I think it was, again, I don't know the exact numbers, but it was something like 30 cycles of 4-second all out max, somewhere around there, 20 to 30 cycles of 4-second all out max. These people gain crazy amounts of cardiovascular health and even muscular size as well. Again, but remember, these are elite athletes. So then he's like, I wonder if we could repeat this with older populations. So he took a group of, I believe it was 40 to 65-ish year old individuals and did the same thing with them. Obviously tailored it a little, more specifically, because again, they're not elite athletes. And again, I should say that this was done on a very specialized bike. I don't know what specialized about it. The article didn't go into it. And I haven't looked at the initial research article. So basically, they found it in these individuals. Again, whatever it was, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it was, they gained muscle mass, they gained cardiovascular endurance, and people said they would continue with this workout. Now, granted, they were in a laboratory with a specialized bike. They had this coach coaching them through it. It was basically, I think it was 4-second sprints, like every minute for, I don't know, 10 cycles or 15 cycles. And then they kept reducing the amount of rest time. So they were doing more cycles with less rest. And again, over the course of a few weeks, they or a couple months, they improved. The challenge, again, so here's what I wanted to get your take on, is that's great and that's awesome. Number one, if you can train that intensely. However, what I want to address is we're dealing with older clients, right? We're dealing with clients who have tons of orthopedic issues. And do we need to train them that intensely? It's cool if they can, right? It's great if we can.
Yeah.
And how will that actually transfer over? I mean, again, better cardiovascular health, better muscle strength. Yeah, that'll transfer over. But will it help someone pick something up off the floor? Like you just did a beautiful, I just watched your presentation for the Age Well Collective that we're a part of. You just did an hour about carries and the importance, more importantly, the importance of the carry pattern for everyday life. When we think about older clients falling, it's usually when they're dual tasking, when they're carrying something and walking or maneuvering around objects. So I'd love to hear your take on it and the challenge when people read this kind of stuff and like, oh, I want to do this high intensity workout because it only takes a few minutes or I can do it in 4 seconds, so to speak. So I'd love to hear your take on it from what you see with your older clients.
Just taking this from what you just said, like 4 seconds isn't even enough time to get up to speed. You know what I mean? Like to get to a point where you're like, I'm working hard, I'm thinking of like the Skurg or the inertia waves or battle rope or the bike. You say go, and just to get me, like, I guess they're already kind of churning.
Yeah, correct.
And then like gassing. So it's that Tabata style of like go 100% and then go 40% or something along the line.
Correct.
Yeah, I could see like a taper down of that, almost like what's the beep test you do in high school? Where they beep and you have to run and then you wait and it beeps and then every interval goes down by 2 seconds until you can't keep up, right? I could see that being a productive value, definitely in a high intensity interval format, not in a resistance training format. Like working load under that higher pressure and the time and go. And that's when I think techniques get really sloppy and they
correct.
When people are trying to hurry. But 4 seconds. Yeah, from the way it read, like when you sent it, it was like, I'm just going to do this for 4 seconds and I'm good for the rest of the day. Hearing it now, like, I guess I could see that as something I would do. I could do every once in a while and see what comes of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to read more of it, but at least we're more educated on it now and we know what is to come.
Exactly. And again, I think it comes back to like, is there application for it or the concept of it? Potentially.
Yeah.
And, however, will it help people in everyday life? I don't know if there's a lot of functional carryover to helping your clients better pick up their children or their grandchildren or their groceries or maneuver around some of these issues that they do have.
Bike the whole time, like
Yeah,
all
right.
that is just gassing body fat off you and making you work. Like I could see
Right.
that for
Right.
that need. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Functional component.
Right. Exactly.
So our next one here, I got my little timer out. You guys heard it beep again. It's because Evan and I have this thing where we're like, oh, we're only going to talk for 5 minutes. And then an hour later, he and I are still talking about whatever our minds go to.
Right.
So we have ACSM's top 10 fitness trends for 2021.
Mhm.
And we were going to just do a couple. And I'm like, let's just do all 10. But I'm going to cap us at a minute. So
Okay, cool.
I'm going to try to do like 30 seconds of
right, cool.
either setup or opinion, and then we'll chime back in. So as we attempt to go through this, let me work my timer and see if we could do this. Like, what's around the horn? Isn't that the one? Or no?
Yeah.
Part of the interruption. Isn't it part of the interruption? Yeah, where they buzz everybody.
Yeah.
So here we go. Timer is on. Number 10, personal training. I'll go first on this one. Obviously, if we get to be in person again, I could see this coming back. I was just talking to another trainer just a few minutes ago, Sharon Tash, our friend, and I'm like, people want to come back. People are dying to get back in there. As soon as you get permission, we had like an 8-week period in the middle of all the shutdowns where we got to come back, and our business grew by like 18%. We had some good folks coming back. So I think we have good potential. There's my halfway. What are your thoughts?
I think it's great too, and I love to see the personal come back, the one-on-one or that real small, 2-on-1, 3-on-1 come back, because I think people are sort of losing that aspect, because obviously you can get more people and make more money, and there's group environment. I still think there's a value to that one-on-one. So I think that personal component, now that people are with COVID and they don't want to be in big groups, that's cool.
Yeah, I agree. Number 9, fitness programs. No. Fitness programs for older adults. Definitely. I think this should be higher, actually, would be my opinion.
Number 1.
What we just discussed, right, with COVID and sarcopenia and not having the ability for us to get out there. The in-home, I'm not going to jump ahead too much, but the in-home option has been good. If we get back in with the personal training in there, I think this has been the most vulnerable that the older population has been since they've gotten older, right? Like in the last 50 years, I don't know, since World War II, when people were, I don't know. I don't even know if I had another example of when they've been more vulnerable, but knowing that we've been sitting around for 10 months, I think that should be a huge one.
Again, I agree that I don't want to give away number 1, but it should be number 1 or number 2. I don't know why it's 9. And it was actually it was higher up than that, like last year or the year before. So it should be number 1 or 2 for sure.
Agreed. Nice. Look at that. 4 seconds. We made it. All right. Strength training with free weights. This is going to be one of those staples that never goes away. And I think one of the smarter variations I've seen of this, we're seeing personal trainers move into learning about the Olympic lifts, because they see that, doing clean and jerk, doing snatches, doing clean pulls, snatch pulls, that there are variations and ways to implement like traditional weightlifting, Olympic lifting styles into what we do in here. Maybe not necessarily with the barbell. We do a lot of fat bell and dumbbell work. And I think that transfers very well from an athletic performance to a functional ability. So I think we're seeing we're streaming out beyond the selectorized machines and beyond just dumbbells and pivot points. Like things are starting to get a little more. You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things you do really well is just show hey, you can use sandbags, you can use resistance bands, and I love what you do with your rigging with resistance bands. And I think that's another cool thing that came out of COVID. Like you can have a great workout at home with a minimal amount of tools.
Yep, agreed. Let's see my timer going there. Number 7, exercise is medicine. You start on this one. I want to get your take on that.
Again, I think this should be right up there, number 1, 2, 3, because it is. I mean, when we talk about sarcopenia, when we talk about cardiovascular disease, when we talk about falls, the number 1 prevention to virtually every lifestyle disease is exercise. So
that's where I was going. It's like, can you give me an example of something, as long as the exercise is done properly, right? I mean, so you're not like wearing away your knees or your back and making that issue. Is there anything that's not going to benefit? Yeah, I completely agree. On a personal note with this, since COVID, I've made some very big health changes in my life, and I'm off 2 of my medications that I was taking before.
Fantastic.
So,
awesome, man.
I can do that, and I've lost 30 pounds, 32 pounds to be exact at this point,
man.
continuing to make efforts like that. when you see that variation, when you start to change your diets, you can see some of the medications components are no longer needed. And you probably experience this with clients where they're like, I don't have to take my blood pressure medication.
Yep.
My what's the other one that's really good? High cholesterol is the one.
Yep.
Cholesterol. I'm like, yeah, man, like that really makes me happy. So I dig that one.
Yep.
Virtual training. So we're looking into this guy as where you're streaming, but the other individuals, they're not seeing you. So think of this as like Mirror and Peloton and some of that. That's how virtual training is being disclaimed. So you're not being coached. You're just being taught, just follow along, basically, is how we go. Which I think for a experienced individual could probably work pretty well. Someone that's very kinesthetically aware could I can see and mimic and do. I think that could be good, but I also see high potential for injury for those that don't.
Yep. 100% agree. I think people really like that virtual sort of training, so they feel part of a community even at home, and it gets people motivated and keeps them with that exercise habit. And again, exactly to your point, I think it's also leading to a bunch of injuries, which is better for people like you and I that deal with people with injuries. However, there's a benefit to it.
There's another one out there now. I keep forgetting the name of it. You might know, but it's got like selectorized arms now, like free motion selectorized arms.
Oh yeah, the mirror with the arms.
Yeah, and it's a mirror with an arms basically, but it's a different name. It's called something else, like
correct,
Canvas or something along those lines. And that looked pretty cool. I was like, I could use that machine just by itself.
Yeah, right.
Mounted, it bolts into the stud. It goes from there. So I was like, that's cool.
Yep.
Number 5, good old fashioned HIIT training. You want to go first on that one?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah, people can get real jacked up doing it. So again, just train clients as heavy and as intensely as they can in a safe and effective manner using the right progressions.
So with HIIT training, this is something new for me that I've now learned about the title HIRT training, HIRT, high intensity resistance training, which is what we've been doing. That's what I do. We teach where we'll go for either interval bouts or time tempo bouts that get you to the number, the repetition, the count that we want for time periods. And we've been doing that with load. Where technically high intensity intervals supposed to be done with either body weight or very light loads at very fast, high tempos. So that was kind of a misconception for me. I'm thinking of some of the CrossFit workouts where they're doing a squat and press and a hinge and a high pull and swings. That's high intensity resistance training, even though you're timing it and you're intervaling right as you go through. It's a different ballgame. So I'd like to see that kind of come up the ladder a little bit more and be more involved. I think a lot of people are actually doing what we're talking about. They're just calling it HIIT when actually high intensity resistance training. Yeah.
Correct.
All right. This one was kind of weird. I didn't see this one coming. So outdoor activities, are we just talking about like people going for hikes and going for a walk and then what, like we lead it or train for it, or, how does that one, how do you think that one scored in?
I think because people are seeing that now during quarantine, what's the option? Get outside. People just aren't getting outside. So let's get outside. Exactly like you said, go for a walk, hike, take your weights outside or your resistance bands outside, be active somewhere, ride your bike, play basketball outside or whatever in a socially distanced and acceptable, safe manner.
Every year we would lead a group of my clients, anybody who wanted to come from the country club, we would go on a hike. We went to Angel Island one year. We went up into Muir Woods one year, and we just lead them on a hike, something that Keegan and I had done before. I'd carry all their food and we'd go out and do it. It was great. And we'd actually make a living at it. Like we would charge like $100 a person, and that would make it worth me carrying their sandwich up there for them.
That's cool.
But we would do like a tour bus down to San Francisco and everybody would drink. It was fun, man.
Oh, that's cool.
But it was all outdoor based. Like that was the point of it was that. All right. Body weight training. Good old school. Like you can't really go wrong here. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like a lot of body weight training because you can't pull.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big problem. That's the biggest issue I see when I see boot camps and all this out in the park. But you don't pull. So everything you're doing is in front of you and everything is pushing. You're squatting, you're crunching, or set upping, which we don't like. You're leg lifting, you're pushing up, you're dipping. you're burping, you're sprinting, you're jumping, like everything's either sagittal or front side of the body. And where does everybody need most of their work? Posterior chain.
Posterior chain.
So it's like, what do you do? I get it, that it's an easy way to do it. And then you don't have any overload. So where's our SAID principle at?
Yeah.
We're not going to gain strength. We're going to gain muscular endurance. And that's another one of those misconceptions. So
yeah.
Anything to add on that? Or
the only thing I would add to it is, a lot of people say, body weight before resistance. I'm like, well, some people just can't do body weight, right? And what about, like deloading them with bands like you do so well for clients that have osteoarthritic issues. So I do agree with body weight is great. However, there's obviously like anything like modifications that need to be made.
Agreed. Okay, this is a fun one. Wearable technology. So this could be anywhere from the what are the new pantsuits and arm suits where they have the body heat sensors and they have the neurotransmitters that show if you're using one arm more than the other. Have you seen that? Like super.
No, I actually haven't seen that. That's kind of cool.
They're pretty cool. So like as I'm rowing, you could be like you're using your right arm too much. We talk about like bilateral dominance, and you'd be like you got to pull harder with the left because it's reading your muscular activity. So from that all the way down to like a pedometer or sleep tracker, that kind of thing. Obviously, these are all the rave and it's a big popular thing. Do you have any that you're leaning towards that are like you got to have or must experience?
No, I just check my HRV every day, so that's the only one I use. But again, I think it's good if it gets people engaged. I wouldn't put too much stock into like, hey, you're using your left arm more than your right arm, and I'm like, yeah maybe because you're rotated, and just using your right arm more isn't going to solve a problem. So, it's good and bad. It's like anything. It's not an absolute, but if it gets people interested in showing something that's measurable, I think that's kind of cool too.
I think it's funny where like if there were young trainers watching this, and they're like, listen to these two old guys like talking about using technology. We're like, I use my Garmin pedometers on my hip. Like it's so old school, Like, I just check my heart rate here every morning.
That's funny.
Right. And drum roll, please.
Last one.
Online training. I mean, we kind of knew that was coming, right?
Right.
It's the most popular thing. That's what everyone's. Now we're actually talking about face-to-face, training, being able to see people as we go through. Of course, that's it's definitely going to be the most popular and the most involved thing for this year, as we've all had to go that way to survive. So I get it. This is not something that I thought was going to be doable, that would be long lasting. And I was completely wrong. I really look forward to it. I love doing it. I enjoy it. I'm also having clients come in studio though. So I'm getting like my fix of both. My business is like 80% online, 20% right here. And so I could see that kind of leveling out more in the future, but I think it's here to stay. What do you think?
100%. I think with a lot of older clients, number one, not being able to get to facilities, seeing the benefit of online training with people that aren't going to get the vaccine for a while, and or I hate to say it, but this is probably the start of a whole lot of shutdowns coming in here in over coming years. So I love this because it does give us that ability to be in front of a lot of people, a different price point, a different ability to interact with people, and I'm glad to see like my client Joel who's in the islands right now. I would never have seen him for like the next 4 months, that he would deteriorate in those 4 months. It's a great way for us to stay connected and help our clients regardless of where they are in the world, which I think is really, really super cool.
Yeah, 10% of my business right now is outside the state of California, which is very cool. I've got
That's huge, man.
from South Carolina and Texas and Washington, Canada, Florida. So I got folks all over the place. It's very cool. It's given us an option we wouldn't normally have. So
exactly.
I agree. Well, I think that's going to wrap for us, my man. We're at 29 minutes. We tried to keep it under 30, so we actually did it today.
All right.
We are through the break, through the holidays, through everything else that's kind of kept us from getting back here. Great to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Likewise. Thanks for doing this, man.
So much fun doing this, man. So I think we'll try to get back onto a regular schedule here a little bit, at least get a couple of these out a month. Good?
Beautiful. I can't wait.
Love you, my man. Everybody else out there, you for being here. And don't forget to get your Bald Brother t-shirt. Make sure you hop on there. olderadult.com. Look at the very top. You'll see 2 Bald Brothers. Right next to that is the gear, TOA gear button. Click on that and grab yourself a shirt. You can be rocking these cool threads just like we do. All right, everybody. We'll have a good one. Thank you, Dr.
You know what we should do? We should give away a special prize for the first person we see out somewhere.
That would be cool.
That's wearing.
That would be cool. Or that gets their shirt and posted on social media.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do that since we can't go anywhere, right?
Right.
Let's do that. I'm totally game. Yeah, we will put together a special Rob and Ev package of something.
All right, cool.
For the first person that gets their shirt and post it. Deal.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Love
guys.
you,
Good. Love you, brother.
Done. Way to go, man. That was great.
Dude, that was awesome.
That was great.
Dude,
Very